Sheesh.
Be careful now, be careful now, be careful now. Look, you're on the tanks. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On the tanks, 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 on the tanks. Look, we killed a bunch of tanks, boys. Heals, 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 heals.
Look at
Heals middle, heals middle, heals middle, please. Good job, good job. Come south, come south. Be careful. Look, come south. Heal front, heal front, heal front, heal front. Come south. Come south. Hold them in. Heals, heals, heals. Dap, 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 east, dap, east, dap, east, dap, east, dap, east, dap, east, dap, east. Good job. Look, look. Can we hold anything? Can we hold anything? Can we get behind? Northeast wall, northeast wall. Look at me, look at me. Look at me. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Northeast wall. 3, 2, 1. Northeast wall now. On the wall, on the wall, on the wall. Delete this now and come back, and come back, and come back. Good job. Come back now. Come back now. Be careful on the front line. Come, heal your boys. Heal your boys. You're good. You're good. Heal your boys. Take your time here. Good job. Good job. Wait now. Wait now. They're gonna look. They win. Come, 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 come. They win. They win on the tank. They went on the tank. Can we catch it?
They'll bomb squad just in case monsters.
Look, the guys inside of you. With me. 3, 2, 1. Inside, 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 inside. Delete this and come back, and come back, and come back, and come back. And spread. D-tanks northeast. Defensive, defensive, defensive. Heals, 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 heals. Good job. Come back, come back. Heals, 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 heals. Walk north now. Walk north now. Walk north. 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 Get behind them. Get behind them. Dap, 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 dap. Get behind them. Walk, walk. North with me. 3, 2, 1. North now with me. On this demon. On this demon together. Come, 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 come. Hit this now. Hit this now. Finish these kills. Okay, spread now. Spread wider. Spread wider. Tanks get behind them. Look, they're hitting middle. They're hitting middle. Be careful. Heal. Keep pushing now. Keep pushing, boys. Spread. Wrap them. Wrap them. Wrap them now. Wrap them now. We have pressure. We have pressure. Tanks go deeper. Tanks go deeper. Get ready. They might hit tanks. They might hit tanks. Keep going. Keep going. East. East. Dap, 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 dap. Get in. Northeast deep. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Northeast deep. Northeast deep. Northeast deep. Let's hold them. One chop them. One chop them all. One chop them all. One chop them all. Run them over. Run them over. Run them over. Run them over is what I told you. Run them over. Run these guys over. Run these guys over. Tanks, get in on them. Tanks, get in on them. Spread to the sides. Hide on the outsides. They're gonna hit the middle soon. Spread. Spread. Catch your heels. Catch your heels. Heal up the sides. Spread now. North. North. With me. 3, 2, 1. North. With me. With me. With me. With me. With me, boys. Okay. Spread. 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 We missed. We missed. We missed. Dap. 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 Get behind. Get behind. Get behind. Get behind. Good job, tanks. Good job. Go. 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 Get in. Get in. Get in. Thanks. Thanks. West. 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 CC. CC. West. 3, 2, 1. West now. West now. West now. West now. West now. West now. Dap. 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 Heals inside. Come east. Come east. Come east. Come east. Come east. Heals inside. Heals inside. Heals inside. Heals inside. Heals inside. Heals inside. Okay. Good. We're good. We're good. Come back. Come back. Come back. Come back. Come back. Come back. Come heals. 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 Azil, you gotta keep engaging. You gotta keep engaging, bro. Come southeast. Come southeast. Come southeast. Come southeast. Come south. Come south right now. Come south right now. Come south. Keep walking. Spread out. Spread out, boys. Spread out. Look. 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 Get ready to counter. Hold on. Look inside. Get ready to counter. Get ready to counter. Look with me. Look with me. 3, 2, 1. Take this now. 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 Delete this now and come south. 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 Break off a bit. Look. Help your east. Help your east. Just hold now. Just hold. You're good. You're good. Fight now. Fight now. Just wait. Just wait. Spread. They're gonna hit you. Be prepared for it. Heals inside. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Look. Look. Azil just engaged. Spread. Walk behind them. Walk behind them now. Walk behind them. 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 Northeast wall. 3, 2, 1. Northeast wall. Northeast wall. Northeast wall. One chop them all. One chop them all. One tap them. One tap them. Smash them. Smash them. And spread. 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 Azil, keep pushing. They're weak. They're weak. Spread now. Spread now. Walk in. Walk in. Spread. Spread. Careful. Careful. Tanks hold them. Tanks CC them. They're gonna hit you. They're gonna hit you. Be ready. Come back. Come back. Come back. 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 Come east. Break off east. Break off east. Break east. Break east. Break east. Look. Look. You're fine. I'm watching you. I'm watching you. Hold on. Hold on. Come back. Come back. Come back. Let them come out. Let them come out. Look, care. Let them come out. Come south. Come south. Come south. Let everybody rotate here. Be careful. They're gonna look to push. Come south.
Playing for the bombs in the boys.
Look. If you died, regurg. If you died, regurg. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. I got banner. Give me. Hold on. I can grab banner. Give me a second. Okay. Look. Sweet. Come south. 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 Sexy boys. Sexy. 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 Look, more hammers on this west one for Azaloo. Come. Okay, look. And then I'll play the door and I'll play this stroke, and you can play that south showing.
They're gonna look back at us next CD.
Look, spread now. Just look front, and be careful. Just look front and be careful. Just wait now. Look. Good job, look. Let her.
They're watching.
Headbutt. Spread now. That. And wait. Good job, Tank, man. Good job. Tanks, hold door. TC. Help. Good job. More. Go in. Northeast. 3, 2, 1. Northeast now. Get out of the choke. Get out of the choke. Tap. Raz. Help that choke with everything. Beautiful. Heels inside. Come south. Beautiful. Come south. Don't counter. Hold now. Come south. Catch your heels. Good job. Heels. Good job. Great job. Hair choke. They're looking choke. Look, my ballistas. Rate these kids right now. Hold now. You're ready for a headbutt. Wait. Look, inside. 3, 2, 1. Kill the guys inside you. Inside you. And come south and hold. Beautiful job. Take your time. Take your fucking time here, boys. Take your fucking time here, yeah? Hold no. My ballistas, rate these kids. Rate them. No battle mount for them.
They're gonna hit east on the front.
Look. Wait now.
They're using it.
Heels inside. Northeast on the front line. 3, 2, 1. Northeast. Oh my god, come south. Hold no. Heels and Smecca. Heels and Smecca, man. Look.
Mommy's pulling out northwest.
Take east now. Take east slow. Take east slow. Dap.
They're all on north corner.
Try to exit.
Walk. Everybody walk north.
They're watching. They may watch.
Please walk north. 3, 2, 1. Send it. Get out. Heels. Dap. Demons. Come back east. Stabilize. Heal. Drop over heels. Oh my god. Come south. Oh my god. Be ready. Let them come in.
Outside rotating.
Let them come in here. Look, tanks hold them. Tanks CC them. Go. Hold them. 3, 2, 1. On the choke. It's decing. Hit this now. And come back and spread. Come back and spread. Good job now. Wait. Look, sneak pass one by one. Sneak pass now. Sneak pass. Go open. Go south 2. Go south, boys. Grab south 2. Walk in. Walk in now. Hold them. Hold your CC. Get ready. Wait. Keep going. Southeast. 3, 2, 1. Southeast now. It's all them. One tap them all. Run them over. Dap. Run them over. Roll them down right now. Stay on top of them. Use your boots and knees. They're all running. They're full spread. Chase them down. Kill them all. Oh damn, they were talking shit. No, what happened? Wrap around them. Some of my tanks be ready to dismount. Look, my tanks slow dismount. Keep walking. Ape them now with your mounts. Wrap east if you have to. Keep going. Block them before the next bridge. I'm ready. Block them before the next bridge. Come. Oh my god. Dismount. Look, hold them. Dismount. Middle of the bridge. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Actually, wipe their front here. We deleted their bomb squad. Good job. Dap. Come back. Hold the bridge. We killed their bomb squad. Don't worry about it. Heal the front line, good job. Kill their bomb squad, Look, care now, fonts, be careful. Look, walk through the bridge. Spread and walk through the bridge, Look, they're mounting, boys. They're mounting, what the fuck? They're mounting. Catch the lizard. Look, catch them all. Catch the lizard. East, boys. East. Look, okay, look, some of you guys mount up, take the northeast side. Take that northeast side. You guys see the northeast over the wall? Like upstairs? Yeah, mount up, take that side. Look, tanks, get ready to walk this choke. Battle mounts up first. Battle mounts go now. Battle mounts go up. Tanks one by one on the choke. Healers, get ready to fucking sneak in. Care now. They're gonna look at the choke. They're scared. Care, just hold now. You're fine. Come up. Come back. Come up. Can we catch Behemoth? 3, 2, 1. Catch Behemoth. Look, spread now. Keep killing Behemoth.
The bomb squad on the west side.
That's fine. Be careful northeast, okay? Be careful. Look, Death West. Care now. Pull them in. Come east now. Act like we're scared. Come back east now. Act like we're scared. Hold now. Look. Mist piercers are going. Wait now. Okay? Let's wait. Come east. Let them come in. Act like we're weak. Come back here. Get ready to spread to the sides. Hold on. Wait. Look northwest now. Look, they're following for it. Spread to the sides. Look. Walk behind them. Can you guys blink? Hold. CC. Northwest. Deep. 3, 2, 1. Northwest. Deep now. Delete them now and come back southeast. Good job. Spread now. Spread when you come back. Death middle. Heal middle deep. Great heals, man. Look, northwest. Yeah, whatever you have, northwest. Use it. Look, spread now. Declump fast. I'm going out to the sides. Good job, man. Come southeast.
Here.
Can we catch it? Can we catch it? Can we catch it? Catch it. Tanks up northeast. There, they're gonna come out. Look. Look. Spread. Let them come in. Care now. Come back southeast. Play slower. Come southeast. Pull them away. Care. Okay, be ready to punish northeast. I want you to punish northeast. Care. Yeah, look. Can we hold this? West? Okay, keep coming. Look, on the tanks. 3, 2, 1. Catch any tanks inside of you. Look, come back now. Lizards 1 health. We'll catch them next time. Come south. Care west. Okay, that's like the 8th time they've done it. Look, tanks inside of you north. 3, 2, 1. Hit north, boys. Hit north. Run them over. Use your ease here. Use your ease. Care now. Come back. Care. We killed a lot of that bomb. Good job. Look. Dap. Get behind them. CC. Can we get behind them? Okay, keep coming. Northwest on the gate. 3, 2, 1. On the gate. Declump faster. Declump now. I'm boosting out. Okay. CC them when they're in front of us. Look, get ready. West, north on the wall. 3, 2, 1. North on this wall. Here. And then come back. And come back. Cleanse. Come east now. Get ready to GA them far, okay? Come. Yeah, can we look for a GA? Look, they're walking. Spread. Walk. We're not gonna catch them. Look, tanks inside. 3, north. 2, 1. Inside. Kill them now. Kill these tanks, boys. Come. Finish these kills. Finish them. Finish these kills. And come back. Great job. We killed 2. Look, north on the tanks. Get ready. 3, 2, 1. North on these tanks. And come back. We got G8 hard. Come back. Care. Dap. Heal the north and be careful. Come east, right? If people are coming west, and you go east. Okay, pull them in. Look, care west. We're going east a little bit, boys. You guys are still sitting there. Northwest, on the tank. 3, 2, 1. Kill these tanks here. Kill these tanks here. And then come back. Look, we traded for tanks, I guess. Well, no. They want to play this slow game. Let them play the slow game. We're doing better than them. Look, inside. 3, 2, 1. Hit this guy inside. Hit this guy inside. Hit this guy inside. Hit this guy inside. And come back. And come back. And come back. Oh, damn. Nora got one tap. Come back. Come back. Come back east. Come back east. Come east. Come east. Come east. Spread now. Spread now. Spread now. Spread now. Spread now. Spread. Spread. Look, can we walk behind them? Can we GA that or no?
Yeah.
Okay. We got G8 hard. We got G8 hard. Hold on. Wait. Look. They're gonna go for another engage. Can we just pull back southeast here? They're looking west. Look, I'm going in here. I'm going in here. Look, there's a second cooldown on the door. Come. On the door. 3, 2, 1. On the door now. One tap them all. Tap. Heal the door, and come back east. Okay. Spread. Look, walk front now. They just killed the rat. Come. Look, can we just kill tanks? 3, 2, 1, kill tanks here. Come. Smash it, come back. Good job. That was good. Come back. Yeah, they're looking west a little bit. Look, Shred, can we walk on them? Can we walk? Walk a bit. Walk. Southwest side. Look, with these DPS. 3, 2, 1. Southwest here. Delete this DPS. Delete the DPS and spread. Yeah, come away from them. Good job. Care east. We traded 2 for 1 there. Look, here, help us. Can we go forward? Can we catch? Look, I'm gonna hit the west side. Come. Walk in. Get ready to hit the west side. Walk in. West side with me. 3, 2, 1. West side now. Hit the west side and come back. Same thing again next time. We're not gonna hit the heart of them. We're gonna hit the west side, okay? Or they're outside. Spread. They're gonna walk in. Look, Care. Just spread now. Tanks hold the choke. Care now. Take your time. That's fine. Take your time. Care now. Come back. Come back. Good job, Bomb. Look, good job. Care. Ooh, G8. Look, on the G8. 3, 2, 1. On G8. Kill him inside. Come back now. Come back faster. Come back here. Can we kill him? Look, Care West, help us. Heal that. Good job. Come back. Care Northeast. Look, rat piece around. Rat piece. I'm walking in. Inside, front line. 3, 2, 1. Inside the front line here. Come back. We got G8 hard. Come back. Good job. Spread now. Declump. They're gonna look to chain engage you right now. Be careful. Careful, West. You're a little thin over there. Care. Pull them in. Let them come out again. Okay, Miss Piercer's about to go. Get ready to counter from Miss Piercer. Come. Be ready. Okay. Hold on. Nice. We got a kill there, actually. Come back. Care north. Look, north on the front line. 3, 2, 1. North on the front line. Just delete their front line and come back.